Hey, what's going on, man? Mike Campbell here with my boy, Andrew Wilkerson. Not Guilty Boyz.
Yeah, one half of the Not Guilty Boys here, you know what I'm saying, signing off, standing on everything, moving around the courthouse. Yeah,
And
life too.
how you feeling, my boy?
Man, I feel good, bro. I feel real good. Glad to get this thing kicked off and going. We've been talking a whole lot of shit for a long time. You know what I'm saying? But now,
Yeah,
here we are.
I feel like we do. This is a long time coming. Just our manifest destiny. Coming to where it needs to be. I'm excited. The public needs to know what we got going on.
Yeah, man. And, I think it'll be pretty helpful, to talk these things out, legal issues, real-time issues, details and ups and downs of fatherhood, Really ought to have these people just text in some questions, too, and we can answer those as well. That'll be pretty cool. See how that goes.
So a little bit about myself. I'm a 14-year practicing attorney. For the people that don't know me, I've been practicing law in Tarrant County, mainly criminal law, my entire career. I hooked up with my partner here, YD, about 8 years ago. We started Wilkerson and Campbell, and right now we're 14-0 in murder cases, capital murder cases. Tied in the community, man. Got a boy and a girl, 14 and 10. Those are my everything. That's my reason why I wouldn't be here without them. And still help, still know what's going on in the streets, still know what's going on, around the way. So, I ain't missing nothing on my way.
Yeah, man. I mean, what brought me into law, got in a little bit of trouble growing up, had an attorney represent me, didn't really do shit for me. That resonated with me. On top of that, kind of sound a little cheesy, but it's true. Used to watch Law and Order with my mom every Tuesday night, man. The original Law and Order, none of that SVU. I'm talking about the original Law and Order. You know what I'm saying? And I could always argue. I could always rebut. You know what I'm saying? By the grace of God, man, I just ended up here doing what I love. I ain't worked a day in my life yet, as it pertains to the law. Yeah, man, just I love growing up. Like I said, I got in a lot of trouble. So to make it here, somebody had to give me a second chance, and I think that's what I specialize in. I specialize in being a conduit of God's grace and mercy to help people get a second chance at life, man, to help people get past the bad decisions they made. And I take pride in that. I ain't gonna lie. So,
Man, to be honest, man, it was a movie I watched, A Time to Kill. I know everybody's seen that movie, Samuel Jackson, Matthew McConaughey. Hey, side note, Matthew McConaughey may be one of the best acting lawyers ever, bro. Because
that closing argument was...
It was the closing argument that did it for me. If he could do it, I could do it. That's what made me want to do it. But he was a bad boy and Lincoln lawyer too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. But A Time to Kill motivated me, man. I saw the movie and said, that's what I want to do. I want to stand in the gap for people who really need somebody to, to be there for them, to zealously advocate for them. So, shout out
Time to Kill. Yeah, shout out Matthew McConaughey, man. He cold-blooded. Shout out Method Man, cold-blooded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A Time to Kill, My Cousin Vinny, A Few Good Men. Liar, liar. Quit playing. Y'all ain't know. Liar, liar. He on there speeding. Man, Harry Mason, The Lincoln Lawyer, but I ain't talking about the movie. I'm even talking about the Netflix special. I done took a couple of things and put it in my bag off the Netflix special.
Come on,
you feel me? So yeah, man, happy to be here, man, and elated to kind of, start a new chapter with this podcast.
Yeah, so we just want to reach out to the public, answer whatever questions they may have. Now, we ain't giving no free legal advice, but I mean, we definitely were, any generic questions on what you need to do when you get pulled over, things like that, why not to take the SFST, those type things, the things we plan on helping everybody with, as well as engaging into pop culture and giving our opinions on pop culture.
And my boy say no free legal advice. He just creating a boundary. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do in life. Keep people in line. But we gonna drop some nuggets on y'all, man. Some jewels. You know, some generous general advice. You know what I'm saying? Maybe nothing too case specific. We can't get into cases, but we will tell you, man, that we ain't get 14 and on murder by not hearing the good, the bad, and the ugly, man. So, you know,
Well,
if y'all got any questions y'all want to ask, just ask us.
I do want to get into one case, my boy. I want to talk about 2019 State of Texas versus Edward Thomas. And this is the case that really put us on the map. High profile case in Dallas County. The news, the mayor commented on this case because it involved a transgender. Well, it involved the LGBTQ community, and of course that was a hot button issue back in 19. And you know, talk a little bit, Waddy, about Edward Thomas, man, and that case that happened. He'll put us on the map.
Man, it helped put us on the map for a couple of different reasons. You know, I believe there was a election coming up. You know, somebody trying to get elected, specifically the mayor and a couple other officials, and they kind of made, man, what was Booker?
Malaysia Booker, Pierre Booker.
No, They made Pierre Booker, the spokesperson for the LGBT community. It was a big deal, man. You know, judge ended up putting me in jail during the trial. It was a very contentious case, very contentious trial. You know, it was a lot of hot button issues there, man. But basically, you know, to start off, it began contentious because the judge, basically what happened is Edward Thomas had a fight with Pierre Booker. Okay. The prosecution wanted us to refer to Pierre Booker as Malaysia Booker. Now, that may be a small ordeal to you guys. There may be someone, why couldn't you just do that? Well, first, my religious values wouldn't allow me to do that. But secondly, the prosecution was trying to trick the public and they were trying to trick the jury. Understand the implications of this, right?
Right.
If we referred to Pierre Booker as Malaysia Booker, right, it would mean that our client beat up a woman, okay? My client didn't beat up a woman. My client beat up a man that had plans of transitioning to a woman. He never did. He didn't change his name officially. He didn't have any surgery. Rest in peace to Pierre Booker. Pierre Booker is now deceased at the hands of another individual that wasn't my client. So I'm not going to sit here and bad talk him or bad mouth him, but there were a lot of things about Pierre Booker that were not realized by the public because the news didn't tell you. And to be quite honest, the judge didn't want us to tell the jury. Okay. But that was the implication. So he was facing 25 to life, right? They said that his hands were deadly weapons. So this wasn't an assault. This wasn't an assault bodily injury. This was an assault, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, which is a first-degree felony. Okay? So understand that simple implication of referring to him as a she would have blown our case up, right? So we had to fight against that at every instance in trial, from the beginning to the end. So that's why from the first day when we told them that we refused to use the pronouns she or her, it was contentious.
Yeah, and just to chime in, I didn't realize how, just how we grew up, how I grew up in the church. My mom and dad always kept us on the straight and narrow. So I didn't realize that how big that community was until then. I mean, we come to court, they cussing us out because we representing the guy that had a fight with the gay guy. You know what I'm saying? So, we got them barking at us as we walk in the court.
I'm getting messages, I'm getting phone calls. They went on Google. I looked at one day on Google, I had 1 star because the entire LGBT community decided to go to Google. Yeah, this shit crazy, ain't a trip. Decided to go, as a tandem, as a team, okay? Went to my business page and gave me 1 star. I had about 250 reviews with 1 star. But the good people of Facebook, they knew that we took this case pro bono. That's another thing, right? Sometimes you got to just, take a case pro bono, man, and see what happens and do the best you can. And ever since then, man, we've been bubbling. I can't lie to you. But the good people on Facebook banded together, and they came and they left a whole lot of 5-star reviews, and my stuff got back up to 5 stars. But I'm saying all that to let you know, man, if black folks came together like them letters did, oh man, we be in every position in office. You know what I'm saying? We'll probably have our own, yeah. I mean, they came together, man.
They were like an army, man.
They did me like Lil Baby. They did me like they did Lil Baby. They tried. You know what I'm saying? Or Da Baby. It was Da Baby, not Lil Baby.
So one thing YD mentioned is that he went to jail in the middle of this trial trip. I'm talking about like literally the judge held him in contempt in the middle of cross-examining lead detective. Put this man in, as the bailiff, put this man in handcuffs and march him out of court, send him to jail, bro. In the middle of trial. Never seen nothing like it before. And then he told me, as the secretary, Mr. Campbell, you up. I'm like, oh no, Judge, you just put my boy in jail. Can I have a day to get ready? He said, you got 15 minutes. He gave me 15 minutes to hop in where, YD already just giving the detective everything he needed. You know what I'm saying? YD just giving it to him. Thank God, bro, wrote his notes down and left for that. He told me ahead of time.
Hey, Trip.
I don't know if you do that. If you put me in jail, I'm going to go my notes.
Yeah. Hey, the cross-examination. See, some attorneys get up there and they freeball it. They go from just off the head. You know what I'm saying? I write all my questions down. So I'm boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? The question was so potent, Trip, I just passed my yellow pad over, man. You know what I'm saying? Passed my yellow pad over. But yeah, Mike held it down, man. So went ahead and got me out.
So when he got out, we went to the jail to visit, bro. He was good. He was in good spirit. R.I.P. my boy Darius, and, did a lot of that case. I investigated, man.
R.I.P. Darius, man.
Segment, but yeah, he was good. What I wanted to know, how was he gonna be that next day? So when we met up that morning, bro was so calm, cool, collected. I knew we was good then. I wasn't worried at all. I thought he was gonna be, ready to go. He was cool, calm, collected. You know what I'm saying? It would have been pissed out. The judge just put him in jail. My boy was ready to go. I knew it was the W then. I knew it was the W. So,
man, everybody ain't built that way, man. That's how they, historically, for generations, that's how they shut black people up, man, put them in jail, man. But everybody ain't going for that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't going for that.
Yeah, so that case really helped catapult us to the main public in DFW. You know what I'm saying? Ever since then, we've been getting a lot of different cases. We won a lot of different cases based on that being the genesis and for that. So, that case really helped put us on. Man, y'all go Google it. All you got to do is Google PR Malaysia Booker. You see everything we talking about.
Yeah. Legendary case, man. Legendary. Yeah, man, we really need to start documenting all this shit, man. This is another reason why we got the podcast. We want to be able to log on and let y'all know what's going on in real time. Because half of this stuff y'all won't believe, man. Y'all will not believe.
Man, I mean,
5 years later, 14-0 in murder, excuse me. 14-0.
And you can look at us, you can hear the way we talk, the way we're not your average attorney, okay? We're not your average attorney. And I think part of the reason we are successful is because we have not folded or conformed or, buckled down to the way they want to be. The jury tell us all the time, it's y'all passion, it's the way y'all carry yourselves, the way y'all have confidence in y'all clients, in y'all case. That's why we believe in y'all. That's why we found y'all client not guilty. So, some of these judges, prosecutors who don't understand young black attorneys, let's just keep it real, young black attorneys who come from different backgrounds, who probably listen to different music, you know what I'm saying? They may not understand us and, stereotypically think, because we raised our voice in court, now we're mad, we're being aggressive. When my white counterpart do it, and that's considered zealous advocacy. Well, why want to do the same for me? So, we have to, it's 2025, but we still have to be conscious of everything when we walk in the courtroom, knowing who we are and what we're going up against.
Yeah, man, and it's a cultural disconnect, man. And let me tell you what I mean. Some of these people ain't never been exposed to the situations that occur in the criminal justice system. For instance, right? I'm a 1L in law school. My partner's dad was a criminal defense attorney in Harris County. So I'm shadowing this guy, Mr. Phillip. All right. Appreciate you, man. If you ever see this, I learned a lot from you. But an example of that is he had this case, right, where this granny, old woman, maybe 75, 82, whatever, she ends up cashing a check that she received in the mail, right? Now, the check she received in the mail was from the McDonald's French Fry Fund, okay? Now, if you hear me talk, you say, man, that sounds like some BS. Maybe, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But this white prosecutor was trying to give us some jail time for that, and saying that it was fraud and woo, whatever. Well, he just couldn't understand why this old woman took this check to the bank and tried to cash it. Right. And it's like, bro, you ain't never been in a disenfranchised part of the community. You ain't never couldn't keep your lights on. Your parents' lights never went off. You never experienced financial struggle. You see what I'm saying? And he just couldn't understand why this woman was so happy. She thought it was a blessing from God. Checking the mail with her name on it. With her name on it. Look out, Joe. With her name on it. And she took it to the bank, tried to cash it. Police pull up and arrest him. And the DA was not trying to hear it. Mr. Phillip was like, hey, man, I mean, you just can't make the connection. But I'm telling you, she did not have the mind to fraud anybody. You see what I'm saying? She thought it was a gift. I mean, damn, if you get a gift in the mail and it's money, do you really care who it's from?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But this prosecutor just couldn't understand that. And it's because the mother ain't never been through nothing. You see what I'm saying? He ain't never been through nothing. I mean, who's going to question some free money?
Ain't never lived face to face.
Right. Now me,
you know,
partly because I went through that and saw that, and partly because, you know, I'm kind of inquisitive. Maybe I wouldn't have cashed the check. But Granny, you know what I'm saying? Granny was thanking God and she headed to the bank. So as she cracked the envelope open. She didn't even have time to think about frauding nobody. Right. But that's what I mean, a cultural disconnect. Like, these people can't even relate to what's going on. I didn't have prosecutors, right? And I'm sorry, I didn't have prosecutors charge my client with a felony in the possession of a weapon. A felon in the possession of a weapon, right? Can't understand why this man had a weapon. But I didn't have a client that got shot. You see what I'm saying? And they still charged him. And I'm telling the prosecutor, are you going to argue with me that this guy actually needed this weapon? Like, you got to understand, they're in places where they need a weapon. No. You see what I'm saying? Oh, he shouldn't have had the gun. I know he got shot, but he shouldn't have the gun. Mr. Prosecutor,
if he
had a gun, my client might be dead.
Come on,
I don't care. He shouldn't have the gun. I don't care. You see what I'm saying? It's a cultural disconnect. You see what I'm saying?
Boys,
you ain't never been on that side of town. Your parents told you never to go on that side of town, never to cross the tracks. You see what I'm saying? It's just a cultural disconnect out here, man. So having all white judges in a courthouse is more than just having all white judges in a courthouse. You see what I'm saying? If they ain't got no flavor, if they ain't got a connection, if they not, and see, even more so, they don't even be willing to make the connection, knowing they don't have a connection. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? You got prosecutors, and some of the best prosecutors I know are ones that are willing to make the connection.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm lying, Mike.
No, he did. No, I think, some of these prosecutors, they come out, they fresh out of law school, they go to the prosecutor office, try to get a steady check, which I understand it. But, if you go straight from prosecutor office to judge, and you never experienced this side or represent the public, you never experienced this side of dealing directly with the public, you're not going to have that sensitivity that what the public needs, man, and that connection, like my brother said, like, you're not going to be connected to what's going on in the public. I mean, I honestly think in the prosecutor's office, you got to be one of the being serene. I've seen it. I mean, I always say, who gonna prosecute the prosecutor?
Right.
If you the ones, if they are the ones who have the power to prosecute anybody in a county, nobody can come and really prosecute them. So I think it's all kinds of stuff going on in prosecution office. So you got to be a certain type of person to work in there. If you're not willing to be a certain type of person, you might not even last in that office. So.
And that's another talking point, bro, that we could probably cover and we could talk briefly right now. But have y'all ever asked yourself, why is the prosecutor's office in the same building as the courthouse? Yeah. Just that should tell you what's going on. The fact that these people can come downstairs from their office, good morning, Judge. How you doing, Judge? How's the wife, Judge? Would you like a coffee, Judge? Judge, I got a question about this case I got coming up. Whole time, we at our office downtown up the street.
20 minutes away.
20 minutes away. So they got access to these judges 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, maybe 6. You understand what I'm saying? So ask yourself, it wouldn't hurt nobody for the prosecutor's office to be over here and for the court to be over here and for the state and the defense attorneys to have to commute to court. It wouldn't hurt nobody. You see what I'm saying? But just think about that. Really think about it. Hey, Papa Mama.
Yeah, and one thing, because that's a relationship thing in this legal field, man. That's a relationship thing. And relationships are cool, but we have prided ourselves on being successful by knowing the law, knowing the black letter law, knowing exactly what arguments we need to make to win this case for our client. Some people don't have that. Some attorneys don't have that. It got to be based on a judge looking out, a prosecutor looking out. Me taking the prosecutor to lunch, me taking contributing to the judge's campaign. And I know it's all part of the game, but if this is a true, fair justice system, none of that should even matter when it comes to what goes on in a person's case, and if the judge is going to be fair or not, if the prosecutor is going to do the right thing or not. None of that should even matter. If I took you to lunch 2 weeks ago, or if I contributed to your campaign, none of that should matter.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. When I was younger, I told myself I was going to write a book called The Flaws of the Law. And that's something that I would talk about if I did. That probably won't come to retirement. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm having too much fun. But, I definitely think that is a flaw of the law. Having the prosecutor's office and the judge's chambers and courtrooms in the same building. It's just, it just speaks of unfairness. It speaks of partiality when a judge is supposed to be fair and impartial. And what impartial means is a referee. I ain't taking neither side. So to add to that conversation, what you think a judge that was a prosecutor for 20 years and then became a judge, whose side you think he take?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, all this stuff goes on every day, every election, every case, and nobody really thinks about that, but really think about the implications of that. You spent 20 years, you spent 5 to 15 to 20 years prosecuting people, telling the judge to put them in jail, telling the jury to put them in jail. And now you a judge and you for the people. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here.
Switching it up a little bit, man. Switching it up. That boy LeBron had a badass dunk yesterday, boy. To be 40 years old, and still putting up them type of numbers, that type of athleticism. I mean, is he not the king?
You know what I'm saying?
Now, the comparison is always between MJ and LeBron, right? But MJ wasn't doing these things at 40 years old, man.
At 40 years old, MJ was wearing them ugly-ass Team J's with them ugly-ass Washington Wizard colors on it, fam. I'm telling you. He was like 13-7.
Come on, man.
13.7 assists or something, or 7 rebounds. Come on, fam. Like, it ain't even no. Just give it up, bro. Just give it up, bro.
And what I like the most about what LeBron doing, man, he bringing his sons along with him on the ride, man. They get a front row seat to his greatness, and just let your sons be a part of that, man. That every father wants to be that prime example, that key figure for their son. And he's just LeBron ain't really had that much controversy in his career. That's hard to do when you're a billionaire in the NBA, travel city to city. Being with his wife since high school. You can't really say much bad about my boy, King James.
Yeah, man, that boy deserves everything he got, man. Everything he got.
Finish it up, man. Give us a good movie to watch. Give us a movie or show. What you watching now?
Man, The Lioness is good. I just got on Landman. From is pretty good. If you like kind of scary, suspenseful, quit playing. I'm on all that. What else, man? I ain't checked that out. Five Nights at Memorial. I was just finna ask you what it's all.
Right.
Man.
Okay, that.
I remember Katrina. Them boys was wilding in Houston. I remember that. It was wild.
I remember we going to the Labor Day Classic, man. We pulled it up to the line. They dropping them off at the Alamo Dome. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, I was at TSU then, man. When we came back to Dallas is usually a 3.5, 4 hour commute. It took me 24 hours to get back to Dallas,
I remember that trip. Yeah.
I'm talking about you could get out the car, take a piss, hop back in the car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And be good. It was crazy, man. It was crazy business, man. But hopefully, man, we can keep building on this, man. We making some real estate moves right now. Hopefully we can get enough experience and acumen to be able to talk to the people about that. Like I say, we'd love to, I'd like to talk about fatherhood a little bit. I know we got an iron sharpen iron, man, and it ain't nothing wrong with sharing your experiences, man, to strengthen the next brother next to you. So I hope that we can get some content out there for y'all, man, to kind of chew on, man.
Absolutely. We're going to definitely keep this going and try to perfect it, make it better each time around, find a way to get to the point where we can do live sessions and have people that can chime in and ask questions. Anything they want to ask about the law or, our opinion on whatever's going on, current event. Speaking of one more thing before we get out of here, current event. What do you think about Lil Baby taking an approach that he ain't fucking with Ghana because he feel like he a rat? I don't think he ratted. I mean, his attorney came out and said, they didn't use anything he did in the prosecution of Young Thug or anyone. So I don't think that ain't right, bro. I think the streets got snitching a little bit through. You know what I'm saying? Because when it comes out to it, some niggas gonna do what they gotta do to get up out of it. It ain't mean I gotta tell on you niggas, but I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get up out of it.
Look, man, if y'all know anything about me and Mike, we the furthest thing from the law. I've never been a prosecutor. Mike's never been a prosecutor. We don't advise our clients to snitch. You understand?
Absolutely.
I think that I don't think it's a man's move what he doing. You see what I'm saying? I think a man's move is you standing by what's right and standing upright and righteous and knowing what you know. And let me tell you, whenever there's a co-defendant in the cases, we speak to our clients about the co-defendant. It ain't been one case we got that involves a co-defendant where our client ain't aware what the co-defendant has said. So what the point I'm making is Thug knows. And if Lil Baby don't know, Thug knows
right
that Gunna ain't snitch on him. He know that. You see what I'm saying? Like he knows that. Like it ain't even something he's still worrying or thinking about. Like he knows that because his attorney was obligated to tell him everything that was said in that case.
Right.
So he knows. You see what I'm saying? Right. So what I think is more about the image now. Like I don't want to be seen with this nigga. And I think that's kind of, and I'm a Thug fan. You see what I'm saying? I'm way more of a Thug fan than I am a Lil Baby fan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, like, and I still here for Thug, but I don't think it's a man's move to kind of be trying to woo the public with your decision making. You know what I'm saying? If you know that man stood upright and he ain't do nothing to hurt your image or your case, then what's the problem? You see what I'm saying?
It's contradictory to what he told the judge when he took his plea. He said he wanted to still make music with Gunna. So, and I took that to say, if he still want to make music, well, whatever contract or obligations, whatever, I mean, if you was gonna take that position, you get to that position, you have to bring that up. But on a talent basis, you know, I mean, Lil Baby can't stand in the room with Gunna.
Come on, man. I ain't know what you was finna say.
I
On
really
the
didn't
talent
even know.
base, if I'm Gunna, I'm dropping the Myra.
Come on, man. When they dropped that album together, you know, Gunna really was caring. He really was caring, bro. Now that Lil Baby got his songs out, he had that one hot album, man. This album he just dropped was kind of, man.
He got him, Future, and Thug on the song. And that album don't go hard as none of the albums Gunna done dropped since he been out.
Right, since he been out. The albums he dropped since he been out.
You know what I'm saying? So,
talent
if I'm Gunna, I'm continuing to drop. We went to that Gunna concert, Gunna up there, dolo. Giving it to him.
Come on.
Dolo. No features, dolo. Like, come on, man. Like, you know, y'all just gonna have to bite that bullet, man.
Yeah, I think eventually it'll come back around. Especially with Thug, you know, who knows, Lil Baby, he probably need a Gunna feature, but I think it'll come back around with Thug.
Hey, Lil Baby will need a Gunna feature before Gunna need a Lil Baby feature.
Yeah, for sure.
I tell you that. You know, and be mad at the truth all you want. If you're mad at the truth, you'll be mad at anything.
For sure.
So, you know.
Well, Ben, we're gonna do this again, man. We're gonna do this again. Let's yeah, I think it's a good start. It's something great.
For sure.